Welcome back, lads, to another Dauntless video. Today, the topic at hand will be targeting the Tenacious cell and if this power cell is actually meta and if you can implement the cell into builds to make it meta. I'm going to be giving you a powerful DPS build and probably the most powerful Tenacious build out there currently. This is obviously not taking into account escalation amp, so in terms of raw DPS power, I'm pretty sure this is the best DPS option for Tenacious. So we're going to be using this build to target the Twilight Sanctuary zones and the Rezakiri Cliff. And also I'm going to give you the downsides of the build and the cell as well. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you do, consider subscribing. Obviously, if you like this video, also feel free to leave it a like. I'd really appreciate it. But without further ado, enjoy. First things first, thank you very much stream, Twitch chat, for giving me the inspiration for this build. I was testing this build on stream and I think this is the best DPS build for Tenacious. Also, shout out DVs for giving me the actual perk summary for this build. Without you, I actually wouldn't even be doing this video, so thank you very much. The build looks a bit like this. The Tordagoro chain blades with Tenacious, Predator, Reaper's Dance, Serrated blades and Inferno's fangs. Skarn helmet with Tough. Rezakiri chest with Catalyst, Tordagoro arms with Tenacious, Rax legs with Predator, and Dras Lantern with Catalyst again. The tonics are like this: Blitz for the attack speed, Frenzy for the damage, and an Ether Drive tonic for the constant Lantern regeneration. The perk summary is all +6 of every single perk of Catalyst, Cunning, Overpower, Predator, Tenacious, and Tough. If you do want to be stingy with your tonics and not use them, you can change the Catalyst to Conduit and the Lantern to Conduit cell as well. But obviously, because we are testing out the best DPS method for Tenacious, that's why we're using Catalyst. And that's another reason why we're using Drask's Eye as well. We didn't really want to use Pangar's Lantern because that won't really show us the actual DPS from the build itself. That'll just be me spamming Pangar's Lantern. But if you would like to change to Pangar, feel free. It's a really good option. And even if you use Conduit, this build is still really nice. So the way this build works is obviously pairing up the Tenacious with Tough as a base. So obviously we get 1600 HP, all thanks to Tough. Paired up with Tenacious, for every 100 HP, so we've got 1600 divided by 100, which is 16, gain 2% bonus damage. So 16 times 2%, I'm pretty sure is 32%, but I don't know if I'm actually 100% correct there. If that's even wrong, I might be doing the calculations wrong by a 0.0. So if I am wrong, definitely correct me, but I'm pretty sure I'm correct. So with that being said, that gives us a gain of 32%. This paired up with Predator, as long as you're not getting hit, you will get a bonus of 35% damage on top of your 32%, giving you a total of 67 bonus damage just on its own. This paired up obviously with Overpower is really nice when you get a stagger, part break, or a interrupt. Cunning's really nice for that critical strike chance throughout the whole fight. I was really toying around changing this with Wild Frenzy, but there's no point because we're not at low life. Berserker would also contradict the whole purpose of using Tough. So the best option is to put Cunning in there. There's no other cell which can definitely boost the DPS in this build. And obviously we've got Catalyst for that tonic duration and effectiveness, which is obviously meta right now. As long as you're not getting hit, this build is awesome. And even if you do get hit, just make sure you're healing to get yourself up to that full HP of 1600. Just bear in mind, when you do get hit with this build, you will lose Predator. So you've got to wait for that to refresh to get the maximum benefit of this build. Starting off with a boop heavy behemoth, the troublesome Spore Struck Embermane. This build does work nicely against normal Embermane as well, but I thought I'd show you a Spore Struck as well. So we get the boop and he's straight away in overpowered state. We still didn't trade, so we didn't lose our Predator or our Tenacious boosts, allowing us to obviously keep the buffs of the damage, allowing us to actually break the behemoth again, putting him into another overpowered state and allowing us to continue working and keep putting him into a nice continued overpowered state throughout the fight. As you can see, it has no problems breaking parts, allowing you just to carry on smashing parts and just dealing as much damage as possible. a great subject to actually use this build on is Scrave. As long as you can get that boop right off the back without trading, you can do serious amounts of damage and actually kill Scrave really, really quickly. Moving on to a behemoth most people don't like. I definitely don't. That's Valamir. It's actually really, really nice against Valamir. If you can kill him and continuously break his parts quickly and efficiently, then you won't have a problem. But if you do take damage, it will obviously drag on anyway. But regardless, if you can do this, the fight can be over in less than a minute. Moving on to the big boys of Dauntless, one of them being Rezakiri. He's one of the most painful behemoths to fight when you first are opposed to him, and honestly I think with this build, being at high health, it does make you feel like you've got that extra sense of security. But nevertheless, there's still the same rules apply, keeping Predator and keeping your Tenacious damage up via your HP being full is crucial. But as you can see, Rezakiri is almost staggered and I haven't really done too much damage on its head. Similar to the Spore Struck Embermane, this build really does thrive when you can get the behemoth on the floor when it's in OP state and just chain break the behemoth. Moving on to Rezakiri's counterpart, that be Shroud. One of the hardest behemoths in the game to kill considering its high HP gauge and its constant use of Umbral Ether blodged on the floor really does cause you a problem to keep your Predator stacks up. But regardless, if you can manage to not get hit with this is why I recommend using the Chain Blades, by the way. You can lead Shroud to an early stagger, as you can see just in a moment. And if you have got really nice part of focus, you can get a chain break to occur right at the beginning of the fight. Unfortunately, I don't get the chain break to happen right at the beginning, but I do manage to finish him off near the end with multiple breaks, leading to multiple chains of overpower. I'm going to address this now because I know I'm going to get asked in the comment section below, is this build good for escalations? And the short answer is yes, it really is good for numerous of reasons. The first one being, one, you're being at a high HP, allowing you to have a higher survivability. That with the passive amps such as the ones from Shock Escalation, it allows you to keep your HP at full by not even running cells such as Iceborne or even healing for that sake. Regardless, it allows you to stay at that full 16 HP gauge, keeping your Tenacious up for longer as possible, even if you do take damage. If you are struggling with escalations, I would recommend using this build because it does give you a nice bond between nice survivability but also some nice damage numbers with DPS as well. Moving on to the bad behemoths to fight with this build, and that is, for obvious reasons, Hellion, and that's obviously because there's a lot of fire and that does knock away your Predator straight away. So that is probably one of the curveballs I would say about this build, and I would probably suggest not fighting Hellion only because the Predator, and you probably will be taking damage, meaning you will obviously not have your Tenacious stacks up as well. With that being said, hopefully you guys did enjoy this video, and I would recommend you actually trying this build if you haven't already. It's actually really fun. I'm not one for actually liking to run full life builds, but this one really has got me in the mood to run some more full life builds in the future. I think my next video is going to be on the best full life build, not just Tenacious, just in general the best full life build. So if you do want to see that, feel free to give this video a like, and I will definitely consider doing that video next. But regardless, thank you very much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.